car company in generations and his rocket company.
US President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk, a key advisor, are leading a major effort to shrink the federal workforce, which currently stands at 2.3 million. This week alone, at least 9,500 employees have been dismissed in an unprecedented wave of layoffs that shows no sign of slowing.
It does not match the will of the people, so it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense. But if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
Well, the last time I checked in with Office of Personnel and Management, there was more than 40,000 individuals, federal workers, who had accepted the buyout program. We expect that number to increase, and that alone, just the 40,000, again, we expect it to increase. It's going to save the American people tens of millions of dollars, and we encourage federal workers in this city to accept the very generous offer. If they don't want to show up to the office, if they want to rip the American people off, then they're welcome to take this buyout, and we'll find highly competent individuals who want to fill these roles.
According to Reuters, approximately 75,000 federal workers have accepted buyout offers from the Trump administration. U.S. lawmakers engage into an argument over Trump-Musk government reform drive.
We as a country are $36 trillion in debt. That is such a stunning amount of money. It's absolutely staggering to even comprehend how we as a people, we as a country, found ourselves here. The President of the United States has the prerogative to fire anyone that has overseen $36 trillion in debt, enslaving the American people, and rightfully so.
My Republican colleagues' actual goal on this committee is to distract from Trump and from Musk's corrupt war on accountability. This will not be a subcommittee dedicated to making government efficient for everyday people. It's about helping Elon Musk and Donald Trump be as efficient as possible in robbing our government and handing out our government services to the rich.
This report will outline the details of layoffs across various federal departments and agencies. Around 2,300 employees have been laid off from the Interior Department, including nearly 800 from the Bureau of Land Management. The Bureau manages millions of acres for oil, gas, timber, recreation, and cultural preservation. The Interior Department manages 500 million acres of public lands, including dozens of national parks, and has a workforce of more than 70,000 people. Now let's turn to the Department of Energy, where between 1,200 and 2,000 employees have been laid off, according to Reuters. This includes more than 300 from the National Nuclear Security Administration, which manages the U.S. nuclear weapons fleet and works to secure radiological materials worldwide. Some of these layoffs were partially reversed to retain essential nuclear security workers, though the exact number remains unclear. The Energy Department employs approximately 14,000 people and works with 95,000 contractors. Moving to the Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Forest Service has let go 3,400 workers, nearly 10% of its workforce, according to Politico. In addition, employees from 2 Agriculture Department research agencies and its farm loan agency were also let go. The exact number remains unclear, but affected staff included researchers at the National Institute of Food and Agriculture and the Economic Research Service. Overall, the department employs nearly 100,000 people. Now turning to the Department of Health and Human Services, about 45% of recently hired probationary employees at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention were laid off, according to Reuters. The Associated Press reported that nearly 1,300 CDC staff members were fired, making up about 1/10 of the agency's workforce. The Department of Health and Human Services, which also oversees the National Institutes of Health, the Food and Drug Administration, Medicare, and Medicaid, has more than 80,000 employees. Now to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the independent agency responsible for protecting consumers from banks, debt collectors, and other financial companies. It has been largely shuttered after the Trump administration ordered it to halt all activity. As many as 70 probationary employees have been fired, and termination notices were sent to dozens of workers on fixed-term contracts, a sign that Trump officials are moving to lay off a broader range of staffers. Now to the Department of Veterans Affairs, where more than 1,000 workers have been let go. The agency provides healthcare and other benefits to millions of military veterans and employs over 450,000 people while overseeing more than 1,500 healthcare facilities. Was at the Office of Personnel Management, which oversees human resources for the U.S. government. All probationary employees were let go during a group call involving around 100 people. At the Small Business Administration, at least 45 probationary employees were fired. The agency, which employs several thousand people, provides support for small businesses and entrepreneurs. At the Department of Education, at least 160 recent hires have been notified of their termination. President Trump has called for the dissolution of the entire department and its 4,400 employees, though congressional approval would be required. While local and state governments handle most education policy, the federal department provides billions in student loans and grants for higher education. It funds programs for disabled and low-income students and enforces civil rights laws. At the General Services Administration, about 100 employees have received termination letters. The independent agency manages the government's real estate portfolio and oversees most government contracts, employing more than 12,000 workers. The Internal Revenue Service plans to lay off thousands of workers next week. The agency, which oversees tax collection and enforces the federal tax code, employs more than 80,000 people. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Hawaii Democrat Brian Schatz commented on U.S. billionaire Elon Musk's Doge.
Very eyes, an unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government. Last Friday, Doge forcefully gained access to the Treasury Department's payment systems and to the most sensitive information of virtually every U.S. citizen.
This is not some minor transgression. This is an illegal act. They stormed into buildings. They shut down agencies illegally. And sure, first it was USAID. But they are now systematically going into the Small Business Administration, the Department of the Treasury, and they will not stop until they believe they have total control over spending.
Time will decide how these sweeping layoffs shape the future of the federal workforce and the government's operations. Bureau Report, NewsX.